Dr. Akiva Gamliel Belk, Dean of Jewish Studies at Noach Torah Institute, LLC. Welcome to Bereisheit Limood Dalet. Yes, a study of Genesis chapter 4. Our textbook is a book I wrote a year or two ago, Gematria and Mysticism in Genesis. I encourage you to pick up a copy. Much of the material that we cover in the book cannot be covered on the video. So please pick up a book for your own learning benefits. Dear ones, this discussion that we're having in chapter 4 of Genesis is predicated on last week's discussion about individual and group accountability. And so there's a great deal of important material that will really be necessary to carefully study. And when I say carefully, I mean that. Dear ones, we're going to be talking about some really very important, crucial subjects to each of our lives. Our question is, how does God forgive sin? And improve a discussion on or about salvation. We begin in Genesis 4:1, where we're informed that Cain, the name of Cain is Cain, that Cain brings an tribute to the Lord. And we're informed that his brother Abel, which in Hebrew is Hevel, also brings a tribute to the Lord. Now, you notice that I did not use the word offering, and you notice I did not use the word sacrifice. It's crucial to understand the Hebrew intent. And when I say intent, we have a lot of individuals who for hundreds of years have helped manufacture and design what they interpret as the Creator's intent. You see, dear ones, until the days of the Noach flood, until after Noah and his wife and his 3 sons and 3 daughter-in-laws went on the ark, were over 1 year in the Teva, and the destruction of the people before the flood occurred, there were no animal sacrifices. There were no animal offerings. So it's really important to get a handle on the reasons why. Now, we'll discuss them, but I have provided a lot of notes with references, and I encourage you to study the notes and the references. You see, there are religions that teach that the reason God rejected Cain's offering is because it wasn't a blood offering. He offered from the ground. And their teaching is that Abel sacrificed a lamb or a goat and shed its blood, and that is why his offering was accepted. Now, that's not true. Hevel did not offer an animal sacrifice. When we go, and animal sacrifices were not until Genesis chapter 8, verse 20, where we read the words that And Noah built an altar to the Lord and took of every clean beast, of every clean bird, and V'ya'al olot. He offered a burnt offering, a lot. A lot means that it went up, and that it was a burnt offering that rose to the Creator of the universe. So we recognize that's when the first offering was made. Now, I said offering. Now, what we're talking about in Genesis chapter 4, verse 1 is minchato. And this is also, the root word would be mincha. A mincha is a meal offering. And so we recognize that Cain brought a minachato, and also his brother Hevel brought a minchato. And so we recognize that these were tributes. And it's really important to understand the difference between a tribute and a carbon sacrifice, a burnt sacrifice. So in the notes, we go through comparisons and we show why a blood sacrifice is not what God specifically and deliberately requires. Now, does God accept blood sacrifices? Yes, of course. But God also accepts confession of the mouth. And God also accepts a mincha, a flour tribute, and so for forgiveness of sin. So it's very important to realize that when our translators translate Genesis, so many will use the word offering. Now, offering is not entirely wrong, but tribute is closer to what they actually gave. So offering is not like a sin, for example, but the better choice is a tribute. Now, the gematria of tribute is 504. Okay? And so mystically, while we're trying to sort through what's being said here and to find the truth, we come to a word that's lada'at. And lada'at is to know for sure. And the gematria is also 504. And so our goal in this discussion is to know for sure. And I'd like to explain a little bit about the usage of this word, lada'at. In Genesis chapter 3, verse 22, we see, and the Lord God said, behold, the man. That means Adam and Chava, has become like one of us, meaning other spiritual beings that have the ability to know for sure what is good and what is evil. So we recognize that the creator of the universe, after Adam and Chava sinned in Gan Eden by taking the fruit, by stealing the fruit from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and taking a bite and sinning. They took what didn't belong to them. They were disobedient to the Creator. That God said, the Lord God said, that man now has the ability, lada'at, to know for sure. What do we know that they knew for sure? Well, we know that they realized they sinned,